spent. He spent it in good company, and full of harm. There he's done. He has done it to none else but he. And all he's done for want of wit, well, to memory now he can't recall. So then filled it a parting glass. Goodbye and peace be with you two. And all the friends that Harry's had, we're all sorry for his going away. And all the family that Harry loved, they would wish him one more day to stay. But since he's called on to his lot, I that he should leave and we should not. So gently rise and we'll softly call goodbye and peace be with you two. God bless you.
Somebody's better to turn up in a minute. Right. And so we say goodbye to Tony. A lovely man, but sometimes moany. Tony was known by all. If you wanted any gossip, it's him you would call. So we'll try and not be sad, but remember the good times that we had. A neighbour go, he was great, a very good drinking mate. At Ollio's he liked to dine, accompanied by a glass of wine. Drinks in the garden when COVID was here, always good for a wine and a beer. He loved his garden and liked to grow his lovely vegetables all in a row. Jen said his beetroot will be missed, so let's raise a glass and all get pissed.
Hey!
Go on, action.
I don't know whether when we pass this place there is a place up there for us, but if there is, Tony will be joining Bob Idder, Roy Bakewell, Dave Hayes, Ralph Youngs, and they'll all be waiting for him up there, so he's not going to be alone. And in the middle of the night, in the silence, when you're laying there in bed and you think you hear a bit of laughter coming from above, it's probably the boys laughing at Tony, moaning about the price of the holy water. God bless you.
Very nice, very good job.
Oh, well, I'm probably one of the newer boys or newer friends of Tony. I've only known him for about 15, perhaps 20 years. We got to know each other in the wheat sheaf when I'd come in there after working on my house. I was building a house, or attempting to build it, and I would come in and there'd be Tony there, and Bob, and Bill and everybody, and Tony would say to me, "Is that all right, boy?" I've got to call you boy. "What have you done today?" He'd smile on his face, and I'd say, "Well, been very pleased with my day's efforts." I explained to him exactly what we'd done, and he'd just look at me and go, "Oh no, boy, you don't want to do it like that." And he'd tell me how it should be done. And this happened every day I came in. So I said, "Tony, for God's sake, will you tell me before I do the work, not after?" But he would always have a smile, and I enjoyed his company, and he'd be a great boss.
Sometimes you speak with someone and it has a big effect on them, but you don't realise that because they don't tell you that it had a big effect on you. But I remember in 2000 I was walking down the Ongar Road and he was outside when he lived in the other house just at the end of the back road. And I was trying to get fit because I had quite major surgery I was facing the next week. And I spoke to Tony, and He said, what's up with you, mate? So I told him what was wrong, and his answer was, I don't know why you're worried about that, Joe. He said, my father-in-law had that 30 years ago, and he's over 70 now. And you know, it didn't seem much, but it put my mind at rest.
Action.
Okay. I first met Tony near on 30 years ago when I first moved into Wirral. I came up to Wheatsheaf and started to talk to him and told him that I'd moved into a flat and I was having trouble with my electrics, and was there any chance he could have a look at it for me? And being Tony, as generous as he always was, said, yeah, I'll come round and have a look, he said, but I don't think I'll be able to do anything about it. And I said, why? He said, well, I don't know anything about televisions and that. I said, well, you're an electrician, aren't you? And he said, no. And I said, well, why'd they call you Sparks? He said, because it's my bleeding name. From that moment, we become really close friends. And the thing I loved most about Tony was his sense of humour, or lack of it, some would say. It was a unique sense of humour, and it was always built round moaning. He was the world's greatest moaner. An example would be, we'd knock for him at his house, and we'd walk down to the pub. And as we walked down Ongar Road, he'd point a house out across the road and say, have a look at that guttering. Look at it. Why do they not clean their guttering out? They're going to pay for that in the end. And then his eye would drift to the next house where the dustbin was overflowing with rubbish. And he'd say, look at that rubbish in that garden. Why do they fill that rubbish? And then a car would come speeding down Ongar Road. He'd say, look at that maniac moaning like, driving like that. He said he should have his licence taken away. And I thought to myself, 3 moans in a minute, I'm going to have a good night tonight. And I usually did. He was a kind, generous, and the best friend that any man could ever have.
I've known Tone since I moved to the village in 1989. Really, Bick was a good friend of mine. Well, Tony and Dawn, really good to me. Helped me out a lot of occasions. But one thing that he always used to moan to me about was my snoring. It dates back quite a while, but a little bit more background is if I was going fishing or shooting or golf or something, and people were sharing rooms, he'd say, Christ's sake, don't share a room with Johnny Shea, he's bloody snoring. So I have to tell the story to sort of flesh that out a bit. That must be 15, 20 years ago maybe. We were in Portugal playing golf. 8 of us, we had this big apartment, had 4 twin rooms in there, everybody paired up, and I shared with Tony. So we played golf, went out on the latch as you do, all sort of retired to bed, woke up the following morning, looked over, no Tony. Where's he bloody gone? So I padded down the hall, down to the end, and there he is asleep on the sofa. So you're right, mate? He said, all right. He said, bloody snoring, I couldn't bloody sleep all night, I had to come down here. So I said, oh, sorry mate, I'll sleep down here. I'll sleep down here tonight. He said, no, he said, I've got a better idea. He said, I'll go to bed an hour before you. He said, because I fall asleep pretty quick, and I'll have a few beers, and once I'm out, that'll be it, it won't be anything. Okay mate, do that. So the same thing happened there, played golf, went out on the lash. Tony tottered off to bed, I don't know, 11, whatever it was, and I thought, okay, I'll give him a good hour. Chatted with a few of the blokes that were still up. Crept in, looked down, looked like he was asleep. So brilliant. Got in bed. Off, go straight to sleep. Wake up in the morning, no Tony. Oh, where the bloody hell's he gone? So I padded down the hall again. There he is, laying on the sofa. I said, you're all right, mate? He said, all right. He said, I couldn't believe it. He said, I'm just about dozing off. He said, you came in, laid on the bed, 30 seconds later you were asleep, 45 seconds later you were snoring, and I come back down here. I said, oh, okay mate, don't worry, I'll sleep on the setting tonight.